Okay, hello everyone, what's up? Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We're in lesson or conversation or session or meeting number 35, whatever you want to define this series. Soon it will be over, and then probably we'll do some frequently asked questions. Okay, but we have a question from one of the previous lessons. By the way, if you ask a question, if you watch this on VOD, and you ask a question and you comment on the YouTube videos, then I get a notification and I can actually relate to that. So from previous lesson, we have a question by Anthony saying, I'm still having a hard time understanding why when we look at others with a desire to connect, all we see is that they have more or less than us. Why would the desire to receive make me feel happier when others don't have what I have? Is it because I cannot enjoy something if everybody has it too, or because I feel bad if everybody has it but that I don't? Yes, because we've talked about it last time, that there are, like in this catch 22 of this will to receive, there are two main problems. The one is that every time I receive pleasure, it cancels the desire, and so I cannot enjoy it anymore. So the enjoyment has a limit every time until we stop enjoying something that we do or we get or whatever. And the second problem is because the general soul in which we are all connected has shattered, and each one of us is caged inside his own ego. This ego is in constant comparison with others. Why is that? Because it's very important for correction. When we want to correct ourselves and to be in bestow, that will help us a lot, because it is said that I don't know the phrase in English. It's kinata, ava vekavod, like jealousy, lust, and pride takes a world out of this world. So this is something that the sages said, which actually means that you need to use these elements of jealousy, lust, and pride in order to excel and to enter spirituality. We'll talk about it maybe later on, but now in our corrupted world, that everything is under the control of the ego, also these tendencies are in the ego, so I always compare myself to others. I have enjoyment only if I have more than others, and if I'm lower than others, then I feel like a dog. Okay, that's about Anthony's question. Let's see if we have any questions from today. Not really, not yet. Okay. Yo, Blake. Okay, no questions. Just people saying hello. Good, so we'll continue with today's lesson. We're actually on page 150. So if you have the book Kabbalah for Beginners, open at page 150. If you don't have it, you can actually download it from the link in the description box. What else you have in the links there? You have a link to the complete series of these lessons in a playlist on YouTube, and you also have a link to Kabbalah, where you can actually start studying in a fundamental, ordinary way. Okay? If you want something more serious than this series of conversations. 150, the cure for the catch 22 we've talked about. So, no desire or quality is naturally evil. It's how we use it that makes it so. So there is nothing bad in reality or evil. It's just how we use it. Ancient Kabbalists have said, and oh, you see, nice. Envy, lust, and the pursuit of honor bring a man out of the world. Nice. I wasn't too far away. I just said jealousy instead of envy. Not so good. And I said pride instead of honor. Well, maybe I suck. But it's good that we have the genuine translation here. So envy, lust, and the honor bring a man out of the world. Meaning out of our world and into the spiritual world. How so? We've already seen that envy leads to competitiveness, and competitiveness generates progress. But envy has far greater consequence than technological or other worldly benefits. In the introduction to the book of Zohar, Baal HaSulam writes that humans can sense others and therefore want what others have. As a result, they are filled with envy and want everything that others have. And the more people have, the emptier they feel. In the end, they want to devour the whole world. Eventually, envy makes us settle for nothing less than the Creator himself. Otherwise, we would just play video games and smoke weed all day. But here nature's humor plays a trick on us once more. The Creator is a desire to give altruism. Although we are initially unaware of it, by wanting to be creators, we are actually craving to become altruists. Thus, through envy, the ego's most treacherous and harmful trait, our egoism puts itself to death. Just as cancer destroys its host organism until it too dies along with its host. Once again, we can see the importance of building the right social environment. If we are forced to be jealous, we should at least be constructively jealous of something that will bring us to correction. Okay, this is explained very good here. Kabbalists describe egoism like this. Egoism is like a man with a sword that has a drop of enchantingly luscious. What? Enchantingly luscious? I don't know. That's why we have Google Translate for our aid. I don't know how you call it in English, but in university you have the professor and then you have the assistant professor or something like that. So we have Google Translate.
Luscious.
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 Luscious. So that's the word, luscious. And what does it mean actually? I didn't do translate, just luscious. Let's see what luscious means. Assisi. Nice. Luscious. So it's like good. So it has a drop of enchantingly luscious but lethal potion at its tip. The man knows that the potion is a venomous poison, but he cannot help himself. He opens his mouth, brings the tip of the sword to his tongue, and swallows. Yeah, this is like our ego. We are many times, even in corporality, sometimes it happens, in recognition of, for example, addictions or something or stuff like that. In the end, the egoism is one big addiction to pleasure. But you have all kinds of addictions, drugs, alcoholism, beating other people, I don't know what, gambling. So you have all these addictions, and even then you can see how you have this self-destructing mechanism that controls you, and you cannot do anything. You just hear yourself going down the cliff and you have no control over it. And that's pretty scary when it happens. A just and happy society cannot rely, and the only solution also for addictions, but also here for spirituality, is getting the right environment, because the person cannot help himself when he's in that state. A just and happy society cannot rely on monitored or channeled selfishness. We can try to restrain egoism through rule of law, but this will work until circumstances toughen. As we've seen with Germany, a democracy until its democratically elected Adolf Hitler. So we see it, actually all what humanity developed, if you'll see, as a culture, moral, laws, system of laws, religions, social order, they all methods or attempts to try to control the egoism or direct it in the right way. And unfortunately, it doesn't work. And when do we see that it doesn't work? When we have like a huge leap in the egoism in society or in a person, and then everything that he was taught, advertised to, regulated by, it doesn't work. And he goes like, what the? And he just goes with the ego. So we can also try to channel, and when it happens in a mob, it's very dangerous, because you have like very unwanted phenomena, like riots and Nazism and stuff like that. So we can also try to channel egoism to benefit society, but that has already been tried with Russia's communism and failed miserably. Even America, the land of freedom, of opportunity and capitalism, is failing to make its citizens happy. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, annually more than 46 million Americans ages 15 to 54 suffer from depressive episodes. And the Archives of General Psychiatry announced the use of potent antipsychotic drugs to treat children and adolescents increased more than fivefold between 1993 and 2002, as published blah blah blah. Whatever. In conclusion, as long as egoism has the upper hand, society will always be unjust and will disappoint its own members one way or another. Eventually, all egoism-based societies will exhaust themselves along with the egoism that created them. For everyone's benefit, we just have to make it happen as quickly and as easily as possible. Making what happen? Again, the cure is moving from egoistic fulfillment into altruistic fulfillment, and this is something that needs clarification. What does it mean? Are we to become just like you have tree huggers, people huggers, or is it something much more deeper than that? Let's see if we have questions before we move forward. That exact passage. Good. Black is on sync with the lesson. This is good. But no questions here. And also hellos here and no questions here. Okay, so still no questions. So we have more time, so let's go forward. Fake freedom. Kabbalist relates to our inability to sense the Creator as concealment of the Creator's face. This concealment creates an illusion of freedom to choose between our world and the Creator's world. If we could see the Creator, if we could really sense the benefits of altruism, we would undoubtedly prefer His world to ours. His world is a world of giving and of pleasure, but because we do not see the Creator, we do not follow His rules. Instead, we constantly break them, meaning instead of being in balance with nature, we always work as cancerous cells. In fact, even if we did know the Creator's rules, but could not see the pain we bring ourselves by breaking them, we would probably still break them. Why? Because of our belief that life is much more enjoyable as an egoist. Baruch Ashlag, Yudas Ashlag's son and a great Kabbalist in its own right, wrote down in a notebook words he'd heard from his father. The notebook was later published under the title Shamati, I heard. In one of these notes, he wrote that if we were created by an upper force, why don't we feel this force? Why is it hidden? If we knew what it wanted of us, we wouldn't be making mistakes and we wouldn't be tormented by punishment. Yeah, what is punishment? Punishment is the sense of suffering. What is the feeling of suffering? It's the portion of the imbalance we have with nature. So the more we get out of balance, the more nature pushes us towards balance. This pushing is felt in us as sensitive creatures as suffering, because we are will to receive. How simple and joyous would life have been if the Creator had been revealed? We wouldn't doubt His existence, and we could recognize His guidance over us and over the whole world. Yeah, this is like a very basic, naive thought that a person that comes to Kabbalah thinks, okay, so, let's have the Creator revealed and everything would be holly jolly. I don't know how you say it in English, like everything would be very nice and cool and happy and blah blah blah. We would know the reason for our creations, see His reactions to our actions, communicate with Him and ask for His counsel before every act. How beautiful and simple life would be. Right? Wrong. Ashlag ends his thoughts with the inevitable conclusion, our one aspiration in life should be to reveal the Creator. But what does it mean to reveal the Creator? we should reveal him according to equivalence of form with him. So if we just want to open the Creator for our egoism, that's a problem, because it will cause us much more suffering than joy. In chapter 6 we said that the whole of nature obeys only one law, the law of pleasure and pain. In other words, everything we do, think and plan is designed to either increase our pleasure or decrease our pain. We have no freedom in that, but because we are unaware that we are governed by these forces, we think we are free. However, to be truly free, we must first be liberated from the reins of the pleasure and pain law. And because our egos dictate what is pleasurable and what is painful, we find that to be free, we must first be freed from our egos. Concealment, a requisite for free choice. Okay, so now we see why, we start to understand why concealment is something good and why it's a must, not to be taken slyly. Not to be taken lightly, or something like that. Questions before we start this? Corey is asking, what counts as altruism? Oh, we talked about it. This is very important. If I define altruism as me doing something good for others, it means that I still in the level of perception of reality. I still identify myself with this protein body. Thus I see the self, me, and others. This is still a form of egoism. So altruism actually counts as changing a perception of reality, that you identify yourself with the system, with the whole, with the Creator, with a higher level of synergy, of connection, something that is above the corporal body. I do things to make money, but these things make people happy. Is that altruism? That's what I've said. Completely not, because you don't change your perception of reality. Otherwise, you can talk about all these philanthropes that are actually the greatest egoists in the world as altruist people, which they are not. And they don't come to adhesion with the Creator. Will it help the nature and pattern of altruism? Will what help? Sorry, I missed the first. Every action is altruistic. The question is how many feel it is altruistic. Not any action is altruistic. An action is an action. The question is about the intention behind the action. So was this action for oneself or for the Creator or for others? Is intense suffering the process of Kli being created? No. Actually, a Kli can be formed by just sensing a deficiency for a second and moving back to a positive course. So if you have intense suffering, it's probably something you're doing wrong. What is the point of intense suffering beginning to end in the diagrams in the back of Kabbalah for the students? What is the point of intense suffering beginning to end? I don't know which diagram you refer to, and I don't also understand point of intense suffering beginning to end. I don't know what does it relate to. There is the path of Torah and the path of suffering, as we've said. Development from trying to avoid getting beat up or sensing emptiness, or wanting to develop and to attain the form that Kabbalists talk about. Ingrid is saying, if I would but a cancerous cell into right environment, how will it change? Is it up to it or the environment? Actually, it's both. It's mutual, so it needs to be a healthy environment on one hand, but still, if the cancerous cell just tries to take advantage of that environment, he can damage it. So you need to get the cell and recognizing that he is cancerous and it wants to make actions in order to cure. So he comes to engage in the environment in a way that will cure him. So he's like playing. He's like playing a healthy state. that although he's not cured, but he's playing like he's cured in a healthy environment, and through that he actually gets forces to cure, or examples to cure. Okay. Start of suffering to the end of suffering in a single experience. Again, Blake, I don't know what exactly are you referring to. I'm sorry. Like, I guess you're relating to something we haven't learned in this lesson. Okay. Okay, no more questions. Should we start another one? We have like 7 minutes. Yeah, let's do another one. It's not long. Okay. Concealment, a requisite for free choice. Ironically, true freedom of choice is possible only if the creator is concealed. This is because if one option seems preferable, our egoism leaves us no choice but to go for it. Meaning that if the creator was revealed, we would be like a puppets on strings. We would just, like robots, we would just do all the things the creator forces us to do as the law of nature. In that case, even if we choose to give, we'll be giving in order to receive. Egoistic giving. For an act to be truly altruistic and spiritual, its benefits must be hidden from us. If we keep in mind that the whole purpose of creation is to eventually be liberated from egoism, our actions will always be heading us in the right direction, towards the Creator. Therefore, if we have two choices and don't know which of them would bring us more pleasure or less pain, then we have a real opportunity to make a free choice. If the ego does not see a preferable choice, we can choose according to a different set of values. For example, we could ask ourselves not what action would produce more fun for us, but instead ponder what would be more giving, if giving is something we value. This will be easy to do. We can either be egoistic or altruistic, either thinking of ourselves or thinking of others. There are no other options. Freedom of choice is possible when both options are clearly visible and equally appealing or unappealing. If I can only see one option, I will have to follow it. Therefore, to choose freely, I have to be aware of my own nature and the Creator's nature. A truly free choice means that I don't know which will be more pleasurable. Only in this way can I neutralize my ego. Yeah, this is very important. Maybe I'll try it. So actually a person is always divided between two layers. So you have the current layer in which I am blocked inside of my ego and I see myself as the center of reality and I see others as entities around me that I need to exploit, or I need to think how to get more from them or be more than them. Even if I give to them, it's in order to get more of them. And there is a higher level, a level in which Kabbalists tell me, or later on I start to sense it myself, in which we are all connected. So there is no actual me. It's more like a cloud disseminating into a general cloud. So there is no me and others. It's just like one big entity, and I identify myself. Here I identify me as this point, and here I identify myself as the cloud. And this cloud, the force that is revealed in it, is called the Creator, or operates. And I try to operate towards this cloud just like the Creator operates towards the cloud. So if he just feels it with pleasure, so do I. Okay? And these two layers of existence, these two different perspectives, actually are all the time fighting inside of us. And free choice is where I truly don't feel any preference for either of the two. They are completely equal. and I decide to choose the upper one because I want to give benefit to the Creator. And by that I'm neutralizing my ego, because I'm not choosing according to what will bring me more contentment. And this is a very delicate point, but it's a very important one. And actually also in our world we have implications of these two layers, like in many things, in an individual person, in a social order, in concepts of time, in learning. Many components of our world are also we can also find them implications of these two layers. Okay, let's see if we have questions before we wrap it up. Blake is asking, are there diagrams for concealment in the end of Kabbalah for the students? I have no clue. I don't remember what, and I don't have the book in front of me. But concealment is not necessarily suffering. For the ego it is, but not for the point in the heart, as I just explained. John is saying, great teaching. Thank you, John. May we just treat all others the way we want to be treated? Yes, but it's a question, because if you think that treating yourself in a way that brings you happy is about giving yourself money, food, cars, women, respect, Nobel Prize, I don't know what, and you'll try to give that to others, that won't work, because you'll need first to reveal that in this way you're just being more miserable and you're just moving into greater and greater emptiness, and you need to understand that only adhesion with the Creator and being similar to Him can bring you happiness. And when you reveal that, you can actually bring that to others, and then you'll see that the only thing that you can actually give to others is helping them attain adhesion with the Creator, because all other things can cause them just more suffering. Shalom to Maziela, to Carl, to Kelishri. Okay, no more question. John is asking, no golden rule. Golden rule in the golden rule is a very universal term that you see that actually in the base of humanity you have cross culture, cross religion, some kind of understanding that one should give should treat others as he would be wanted to be treated. This is true. This is true. But again, what I said is not about the golden rule. I said about what it is that you want to be, how it is that you want to be treated. This is something you need to understand first. So if you think that you can attain happiness in corporality, you need first to despair from that, see why your ego won't allow you that, and then understanding that only above ego, in adhesion with the Creator, in attaining spirituality, you can be happy, and when you come to that, you can bring that to others. Okay? I hope that's clear. What we are providing is connection itself, a chance for connection. Connection a person needs to attain himself. Why does every level below human follow the golden rule? All nature follows that, but beside the persons who are corrected, because again, nature, Creator, is about others. There is no there cannot be a concept of me or self or I in nature, because it's all one system. It's a whole organism. So why we find self or me in nature? Because of our ego, and this is a good thing, because we are cut off from nature as a starting point that allows us the opportunity to attain the connection in a conscious way, and not just like animals or plants that are just operating into that. Okay, we need to wrap up. Our time is due. See you again Sunday evening, Sunday night, New York time, or early morning Israel time, wherever you are in the world. Have a good day, good night, and see you next time. Bye bye.